Yo, 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 what is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And what a night on the college hardwood, baby. What a freaking night. 5-1 against the spread. We brought in 9.08 units, and we sweat out quite a few different games on this slate, but hey, it proved to be worth it. Our entire week really flipped on its head. We are well in the green after a night like this, and we also had futures advance with Georgia Southern. We have a lot of great games coming up here also on Thursday, which includes day basketball. And fun fact, from Thursday, March 6th, all the way to March 16th, we're going to have day hoops from, the start of the morning all the way to the end of the night every single day. So get ready, buckle up. It's going to be fantastic. This is the holiday season in this sport. And as you guys have been asking, we're going to have an update on our futures at the back end of this episode because you guys have been asking me about potential hedges and just kind of how we want to play, notably our ASUN futures. And I'm going to have an update for you guys here on the back end on kind of what we're doing, what our outlook is on our future bets that are looking pretty exciting. But before we hop into Thursday's picks, let's go ahead and shout out today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. And if you haven't already signed up using promo code ROBDFB, I highly recommend you go and do so. We post these player entries every single day over on Twitter/X at my handle, RobDFB, and I cannot recommend it enough. We do really well with just the individual player entries, and, we've been hitting a lot of 6-to-1 pairs over there as well. So if you do want to take part, make sure you are signed up over at Underdog, and then make sure you are following me over on Twitter/X at RobDFB. But with all that being said, y'all, I am so jacked. I am so excited to talk about these Thursday bets. All right, for our first bet here on Thursday, we are starting off right on the opening game. Arch Madness, Indiana State taking on Southern Illinois. And you guys know, I've been betting the Sycamores team a lot on the back end of the season, and I've been having a lot of success with it because this is a team that's actually playing a lot better basketball than how they started. And in this matchup against Southern Illinois, a team that they kind of split the season series with, last time out, just a couple days ago actually, Indiana State roundhoused Southern Illinois, and now the line is sitting as actually Indiana State catching 1.5, and that might seem a little bit suspicious, and I would tend to agree. At the same time, I do think that Indiana State is just a better basketball team, and I'm kind of willing to trust my analysis from that standpoint and take them with the 1.5 points for 2 units for our first bet here on Thursday. For pick number 2, we are heading out to the WCC tournament where we have San Diego taking on Pacific. And if you guys remember how Pacific performed against Pepperdine in last year's opening game to start this conference tournament, my God, I mean, it was one of the biggest blowouts of all time. 102-40 was the final score, and I believe Pepperdine only had 9 points at half, as opposed to Pepperdine's 50-plus points at half. It was just a memeable game. It was so horrible. It caught national attention, and now, under first-year head coach Dave Smart, there's a lot of pressure to not relive that performance, and I do think that Dave Smart is actually a pretty darn good coach. I think he's kind of made the most with this roster this season, and I do think that last year's result is going to motivate this team to actually show up and perform against what I think is a much inferior San Diego team, which is saying a lot about Coach Lavin. But with all that being said, I say we go ahead and lay the 1 point with Pacific for 3 units for our second bet here on Thursday. For pick number 3, we have a placeholder bet here. Undetermined right now, but I'm going to ask you guys to kind of follow the YouTube comments or follow me on Twitter for this pick because we're heading out to the Sun Belt Conference Tournament where we have Georgia Southern taking on Georgia State. I have no idea as I'm recording this right now what that line could be, but I really love the idea of Georgia Southern potentially running Georgia State off the floor. And once we see a line, I'm going to be able to kind of make a determination on whether or not we're going to bet it here. And, if it's anything favorable, like under 5.5 laying for Georgia Southern, this might be one of our biggest bets of the day, which is why I'm kind of asking you guys to, hey, keep in touch with the comments, keep in touch on Twitter/X at RobDFB, because we will have a bet in this game, but just right now at this very moment, we do not have a current bet in this game just because there's no lines out at the moment. But hey, let's revisit it and let's go ahead and actually move on to pick number 4 here. Pick number 4, we are heading out to the Horizon League tournament where we have Purdue Fort Wayne taking on Youngstown State. And I get it, Youngstown State is at home in this game. They have the glossier looking record, but Purdue Fort Wayne is the better team. And if this was on a neutral floor, I think there's upside for Purdue Fort Wayne to potentially run them off the floor by 20 plus. But hey, it's going to be a good atmosphere. It always is in the Horizon League, and this is an afternoon game as well. And when you're looking at Purdue Fort Wayne, they are one of those teams that when they go on the road, they can be a little bit rocky and a little bit volatile, which is making me just kind of temper my bet sizing on this game. But let's go ahead and take Purdue Fort Wayne, getting the 2.5 points for 3 units for our 4th bet here on Thursday. For pick number 5, we are heading out to the MAAC where we have Merrimack taking on Marist. And Marist is one of those teams that we have been openly fading since the start of conference play. And at this point, we have absolutely been rolling by doing so. And Marist is just one of those teams with a paper tigerish kind of record where, yes, they're 20-7. That looks very good when you're just kind of looking at it on the box score sheet or, from a game log standpoint. But they are not that impressive of a team. They have a lot of holes, and obviously the analytics just do not like this team. And on the other side with Merrimack, this is a team that I think could give Marist a ton of problems, and that's why a 16-14 team is only catching a point in this matchup. And I do think that Merrimack wins this. I think they win it convincingly, and I say we go ahead and take that 1 point for 3 units for our 5th bet here on Thursday. All right, for our final pick here on Thursday, we are heading out to the Horizon League tournament where we have one of our futures in action with Northern Kentucky taking on Cleveland State. And I honestly believe, especially after watching that first round game with the Norse, that they are a team that can seriously hang a banner in the Horizon League Conference tournament at the very end of it and secure that auto bid. And when you're looking at this matchup here against Cleveland State, I think they match up extremely well. I think actually the Norse are the better team. Again, there is going to be a home atmosphere here, but the Norse are catching 4.5 points, and I think that's an absolute no-brainer to take those 4.5 points here for 4 units for our final bet here on Thursday. All right, and so now we are moving on to our futures update because a lot of you guys have been asking specifically about the A-Sun. So we'll start right there and kind of do a futures episode update on the A-Sun Conference Tournament. And obviously we dropped North Florida at the start of the day, or the start of the tournament rather. They blew an 18-point lead from the first half and got absolutely smoked in the second half and onward. So lost a half unit there, but we have Jacksonville still pending at 18-1, and we have North Florida pending at 2.5-1, and they are playing each other in this round of the semifinal round of the A-Sun Conference Tournament. And what we're going to be doing here is just letting this game play out. Obviously, we want to pull for Jacksonville because they have the longest odds. We potentially can stand to win 27 units with them if they make it to the championship game and win it. But more importantly, that 27 unit payout on the back end for Jacksonville, if they make the championship game by winning this game, that's where I think we can really leverage some really good money because, whether or not it's Queens coming out of the top side or Lipscomb, I think that Jacksonville is going to be a reasonable, either favored against Queens or kind of a reasonable dog against Lipscomb. And I think we're going to have a lot of hedge potential right there, especially when we have 27 units to play with for a potential profit stake. So that's what we're going to be doing right there. We're going to be pulling for Jacksonville. Hopefully they pull it out. If North Alabama does win at home, which is obviously very possible, we're just going to let North Alabama ride against Lipscomb or Queens. I absolutely love that angle. I think they're the best team in the ASUN, and if Jacksonville can pull that upset, that'd be fantastic, but I feel really confident about North Alabama if they do make the conference championship game. And additionally to the ASUN, we also have a future in the Sun Belt that's been catching a little bit of legs because obviously Georgia Southern won today. We have a quarter stake, on Georgia Southern plus 35,000. And again, like I kind of said in the video, once this line opens for Georgia State, this might be another pretty big bet for us on Georgia Southern. And once they potentially, win that game and advance in the tournament, we're going to have a little bit more of a conversation here on another futures update. But I did want to touch on that because you guys have been asking, what is our strategy with a Georgia Southern-like future? And I'm just going to tell you right now, hold pat, let it materialize a little bit, let it grow a little bit, and then once we have enough equity in that stake, we can start kind of talking about what we want to do with it. But with all that being said, y'all, I appreciate you guys checking out today's video. And if you haven't already checked out our futures videos, there are plenty of conference tournaments that I've yet to tip, and you guys have plenty of time to hop aboard what we got going on. But with all that being said, y'all, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.